Nothing like coincidence. Kwesi, an only child and a very humble and respectful young man, lived in a small town at the bank of a very popular and powerful river in Ghana, Dentsu. He was well known in his community as his parents suffered a tragic death by car accident, leaving him an orphan at a teen age. Kwesi was also well known for sweeping and tidying the banks of the river every morning since childhood. After the death of his parents, he dropped out of school as none of his extended family members were willing to cater for him. He therefore became a taxi driver at the age of 16. There was a small taxi rank at the riverbank where all the taxi drivers packed their cars and waited for customers every day. Kwesi joined them when he got the car from his car owner. Every morning when Kwesi wakes up, the first thing he did was to sweep the riverbank before cleaning his car and starting his day. Some days he goes inside the river to collect the rubbish on the surface before sweeping. When the taxi drivers noticed Kwesi was tidying their side also, they started leaving more rubbish each day. Some would clean and sweep the rubbish out of their cars and leave it at the bank of the river, knowing that Kwesi would sweep the next morning. This went on for 2 years, and despite the numerous complaints from Kwesi, it did not stop them from leaving rubbish at the riverbank. Some even started laughing at Kwesi, calling him all sort of names like he was stupid and did not know what to do with his time. One day, Kwesi could not make his sales as his car developed a fault. This continued for about a week. He tried explaining to his car owner, but the car owner, out of anger, took the car away from Kwesi. Kwesi, very sad, went home and cried it out. Early in the morning the next day, he went to the riverbank and swept the whole place as usual, and when he was done he went out to look for another car to work with. 1 month went by and Kwesi had still not gotten a car. He was growing lean out of hunger as no one wanted to help, but he still went to tidy the riverbank each day. One morning as Kwesi got to the riverbank, he noticed there was too much rubbish, and he wondered why, but anyways he started sweeping and tidying. While sweeping, his broom hit a hard object, so he stopped to take it out. To his surprise, it was a pot with some leaves on top. He then stopped sweeping and had a look inside. It was all gold. Kwesi got the shock of his life. He started shaking and asking himself questions. Who could have left this here? Is it a coincidence? Is it a stolen item that someone is hiding here? Kwesi was confused. He quickly took it to his room and hid it under his bed, then came back to continue tidying. As soon as he was done, he went to the king's palace and told him what had happened. The king called the chief priest to ask him about what Kofi was saying. The chief priest, on getting to the palace, stood quietly for a few seconds, then started talking. He said, "I am Dentsu, the river in this town. This young man I have taken as my grandson, as I have not seen a clean heart like this before. I have watched him clean my riverbank all his life, and this gold is my thank you to him for his kindness." The gold he saw is not a coincidence, for there is nothing like coincidence in this life. I put it there for him. He then turned and looked at Kwesi and said, "My grandson, continue being kind and humble, for you will live long, and it will take you places." He then left. The chief priest then came back to himself and asked the king what he could do for him. The king told him the matter had already been solved, and so he left. The king then blessed the pot of gold for Kwesi and then allowed him to go with it. Wow, just like that, Kwesi was now the wealthiest man in their town, and all who used to laugh at him and call him names were now ashamed. So you see, in this life, kindness pays, and there is nothing like coincidence.